Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are doing another monthly check-in video. Today we are just going to talk about what I've been reading so far in this first half of this month. Books I am getting rid of, kind of like an unhaul section of the video. And then we're also going to talk about some things that I had planned for the channel that I'm putting on the back burner for a couple reasons. Now, I don't really know if that many people care, but I'm going to mention it anyways, mostly because it's useful for me, you know, as an individual to have this in a way where I can easily access it and I can kind of project my thoughts easily. It's basically like a diary, right? These videos are basically a diary for me, but a video diary, I guess. So, yeah. Let's just jump into what I've been reading so far. So, I've actually basically completed my TBR when it comes to the manga light novel stuff. So that's pretty cool, but I'm still I still have some original English light novels to read and a pair of books that I need to finish, but I haven't done that. And mostly that's because these first couple weeks I just wasn't feeling like that great emotionally. Like I wasn't sad or anything. I was just kind of like drained. Like I wasn't really interested in doing anything. And manga is a lot easier to read when you're feeling like that than a regular book is. I guess you could kind of say that I was in a bit of a slump. And so I read a lot more manga than the books that I was supposed to. So I'm gonna do that this second half of the month. But you know, I'm a mood reader anyways, so it doesn't really make a difference. I'm just going to have to see how it goes. So, the first thing I read was Ojojojo. I already did a review for these, so I'm not going to talk about them too much. But, yeah, Ojojojo volumes 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And these are the full collection of Ojojojo in these nice, oversized copies. This is like the same size as the very large light novels that Seven Seas has. And it's even a slightly wider than other oversized volumes like those Kodansha ones up there. So it's actually kind of interesting, but it's kind of annoying to put on a shelf because it doesn't really slot in with the other oversized volumes. But yeah, this story is a very cute slice of life romance that revolves around this you know, rich girl Hime Ojo-sama type of character and this really like maybe not poor, but very standard, you know, person type of kid that has this kind of communication issues, kind of very similar to Komi from Komi Can't Communicate. And it basically deals with these two kids that are, you know, essentially lonely because they don't really have a way to connect with other people. And through their loneliness, they end up meeting each other and now being alone together, which eventually turns into a friendship and then a romance, and we follow them all through high school and then into their adult lives. This is a 4-koma. It's actually very good. I was very surprised with how deep it was, even though it was a 4-koma. And this is purely based on the fact that it seems odd to me that 4 panels can, you know, really exemplify so much emotion as they do. But that's very cool. I really enjoyed it. Cool Kyosinja is a bit of a weird author, guy, woman. I'm not really sure what they are, but like an author, a mangaka with some really weird stuff, but none of it shows up here. And I'm quite happy with that because this story is very cute and very wholesome and very enjoyable to read. So that's the first thing I've been reading. Next, I read Tropic of the Sea by Satoshi Kon. This is one of his earliest works. I think in the afterword he says that this is the his first serialized work, which is cool. It wasn't as amazing as I thought it was going to be. Satoshi Kon is a bit of a legendary mangaka. A lot of people say a lot of stuff about him, and I really didn't find it to be that crazy. But this is a very interesting kind of you know, coming of age story where this guy is basically stuck between two different ideologies, one presented to him by his grandfather, which is traditionalism, and the other by his father, which is modernization or modernism, I guess. And he's not sure what he wants. And there's this supernatural element there with these mermaids, which kind of ties it into a type of magical realism type of story, which is really cool. And I just thought it was enjoyable. And it does have this kind of feeling of like, hey, this is something you will probably struggle with. What are you going to do about it when the time comes? And I thought that was really good. I really did enjoy this as a conversation starter. This is a very interesting kind of manga to read in a book club type of situation where you would discuss it and where you could go on tangents into other things. And it was really enjoyable, but like it wasn't crazy good in terms of like writing and plot line and stuff like that. It was actually pretty basic in that sense, but the value here is more than anything beyond just the artistic. It's about the contemplative nature that this book kind of has and kind of will develop within you if you care about this sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. Next, I read My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I read like 6 volumes of it, which is really good. I was actually surprised with how good Vigilantes is. It's like basically the same kind of idea as My Hero Academia, but it follows this group of people that are vigilantes, which are non-legal heroes, right? And it kind of has this, I don't know, like Teen Titans vibe to it. Not really, but like it's like older teenagers doing heroic things and kind of having to figure out and stuff. But not in the way that, you know, you have My Hero Academia, where it's like kids go to school to learn this stuff. It's a very interesting kind of different feel to it. And I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff because it has a lot of world building that is directly applicable to My Hero Academia that My Hero Academia can't, you know, expand on because it's not relevant to, you know, Shigaraki and the story of, you know, Deku becoming a hero. Like, basic random everyday quirk use is something that is very common in My Hero Academia Vigilantes, but does not exist in the core series, right? So, and it makes sense, right? Midoriya doesn't have a quirk to use in his everyday life, and so to him, it makes sense that it's not something that, you know, the story focuses on because to him it's not normal. But, you know, My Hero Academia Vigilantes does follow someone that has a quirk, and it has this whole kind of like underground hero thing, and, you know, Aizawa shows up, and Midnight shows up, which is really cool, and I really enjoyed it. It kind of has, it's like a prequel, as far as I understand it. It's 5 years before the events of, you know, Midoriya being in school, but I don't know, it was really enjoyable, and I was quite happy with it. It still has that kind of like kids in school vibe, where like they do a bunch of events around the city they are, Naruhata, I think. Naruhata, I think is what it's called. Like, and I really enjoy all the characters. So, yeah, good stuff there with My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Next, I read a bunch of one-off volumes, like single volumes that I own. The first one is How to Train Your Devil. Now, this was fun, but not great. This is really good if you're like a teenage boy, like you're 14 and 15. And because it's like a very Japanese, very perverted type of comedy here that is fun if you're 15, like I said, but it's not really that enjoyable when you realize all of the implications of like what it's supposed to be, because it's basically this like baby devil that has the mentality of an adult man, and he goes around doing a bunch of crazy lewd stuff to all these women, and it's very concerning, but like certain elements of it are still funny, especially when it's like not really that concerning. Like, I don't know, it's not something that I'm necessarily happy with. And in fact, I was actually quite what's the word, like uncomfortable with a lot of the situations that occurred. But the main character, the female main character, has a certain charm to her, and the kind of general idea and plot line is quite humorous. It's just like some of the specific events are not very enjoyable. But this is not necessarily something that I would throw like away. I'm not necessarily sure that I want to read more of it, but for now I'll keep it in my collection and then give it a couple months and then read it again and then decide if I want to keep it or not. because there's some stuff that I liked, but not enough to really warrant, collecting it. So yeah. Next, I read Dragon Goes House Hunting, which was surprisingly good. I was actually very, very happy with it. The art is really nice. The story is very basic, and it's kind of odd. Like, it's something that really would only exist in Japanese media. Kind of like foodie manga. It's like in that same kind of vein, where it's like a very, I was about to say quotidian, but that's not a word in English. A very, like, average activity that everyone kind of has done or does at one point, and then they build a story around it that is very interesting, and it's very cool and compelling, because it's basically this lame-ass dragon that goes around trying to find a home, and he's wishing for this place where he can be himself, or where he can be comfortable, but there's so many things that have to be accommodated for him to be able to have this. And he just is on a journey to find it. So it's really cool. I really did enjoy it. It was very surprising, and I'm really happy with it. I will probably get more of this, but I'm not exactly sure about that, because one, I don't know how long this is, and this is one of those series where it's like, if you go too far, if you stretch it too long, this is going to get boring, and I don't really enjoy that. So I'm not really sure. I'll probably pick up the second volume at least. Beyond that, I'm not really sure how far I will collect this, but the anime is coming out right now on Funimation, I think. So you guys should check it out. It's pretty cool. Next, I read Volume 1 of Nisekoi, and this was also very surprisingly fun. I had already heard that it was good from a lot of people, including Alex from Tentai Books. But I hadn't gotten around to it. But now that I have, I understand where a lot of these people are coming from. Like, it's a very classic, like, childhood romance type of story. Like, there's a main character that's a boy, and then there's this girl that is this mysterious person that he made a promise with, and then there's this other girl that it's like his current romantic relationship, but it's like a fake romance, because the whole point of it is to basically evade a situation where, like, the main character's Yakuza members and the main female character's gang members don't start a fight. And it's very funny. It's a very interesting premise. I don't love that there's a tsundere character, and that is the main love interest, which is this girl Chitoge. But even though she is a tsundere character, there's something about the way she is a tsundere that is quite cute. Like, a lot of people think tsunderes are just like very violent, and that's actually the part that I dislike. I really hate this whole kind of idea of, like, women abusing men in like everyday life, like hitting them and stuff, being okay and even being humorous, because that's something that is very common. And especially I hate it in tsundere characters, because it takes it to be like, oh man, this is hilarious, she hit this dude and he went flying. But it's like, no, it's not funny. It's actually quite, shitty and concerning. And that's the part I dislike about tsunderes. But even though she does this type of stuff, there's still certain elements about her that that make it so she's not really that horrible. She cares about the main character in a way, even though she dislikes him. And there's certain elements to the way that their relationship is developing that I'm quite happy with. So I still will continue to read this, but probably will do it online, and just keep the first volume. So yeah, that was kind of a weird ramble on tsunderes and, like, violence towards men, but sorry. It was just kind of, like, relevant to Nisekoi. But yeah, next I read Dress Up Darling, which is very, very nice. I reread the first volume and then read the second volume, and I'm quite happy with the series. It's so cute, it's so good, and it's so interesting that it's a very ecchi series. Like, this is definitely, like, something only adults should read. It has a parental advisory on it. But even though it has all of those elements, it's also very cute and wholesome. And it's about this young man that has basically no friends and no relationships with anyone beyond his grandfather and his family members. And he, gets found by this, crazy outgoing girl, and they develop a friendship, and it's very good. And I think it's something that is basically would be a dream come true for a lot of young men. especially the type that were probably taught to be very stoic and you know, raised in the more traditional sense of masculinity, which, you know, is not necessarily what people like today. But, you know, a lot of us in our 20s and a little bit later than that have grown up with this type of idea, and a lot of us have difficulties with connecting with those ideas, right? It's kind of odd, and it's very out of sync with what modern day people try to tell us. But I think that if you're that type of guy, if it's something that, like, this will be very good, it will be very enjoyable, and it will be something that you can connect with deeply, because it's about this guy that is essentially stoic and keeps to himself and doesn't really express himself much, but does it because he's afraid, not because he was taught to do so, you know, by whatever the standards of society were when he was growing up. And yet, there's still hope for him, because there's this person out there that is going to connect with him and want to, you know him and stuff, right? So it's a very interesting kind of idea. And it sounds odd, right? Because you would think that, you know, something so heavily fan servicey like this would not really have a deep message or anything where, like, you could connect with. But there's so, like, much to it that I really love. It has this wonderful message about not being anyone but yourself, and, like, making sure that you have things that you care about and things that matter to you that you won't back down on, and about your hobbies and the things that you enjoy defining you, but not allowing yourself to be put in boxes and hurt because of these things that you enjoy. Now, I mean, obviously there's certain things that some people might enjoy that are definitely bad, but in general, like, a lot of people have experienced being bullied or, you know, being ridiculed because of certain things that they enjoy. And this has a very nice, like, message about not letting yourself get, you know, pulled down by that. And that it's okay to like the things you like, even if it's not traditionally male or traditionally female. You should enjoy what you enjoy because you enjoy it. And it's just so beautiful. There's such a good message here for, you know, for everyone in general. But I think this will really resonate with a lot of men, a lot of young guys, right, in our 20s and stuff like that. Because it deals with a lot of things that a lot of us deal with as well, that we really don't have that much support for. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. But, yeah, that's everything I've read so far. I'm halfway through Lord of Goblins, but I don't have it here. It's downstairs. So I'm not going to show it, but I've been enjoying that so far. There's something I noticed that was missing, which is that whole kind of, like, recap chapter at the beginning. Which kind of disoriented me a little bit, because it's always nice when you read a sequel to kind of get that first chapter in where it, like, recounts the general idea of the previous book and then gets you into the action currently. But I think this is just because the writers are relatively new to writing stories, at least in terms of publishing. So, yeah, but overall, I am enjoying it. It's a very cool story. It's interesting. The kind of flip-flop between the kind of military sci-fi versus the kind of more traditional epic fantasy is still very interesting and refreshing, but it's also still kind of really jarring. But overall, I'm enjoying it. I think it's fun. I quite like it. And I can't wait to finish it. So, yeah, that's it. That's everything I've read so far. I still have a bunch of books left in my TBR this month, but hopefully I'll get through them. Now let's talk about the things that I wanted to do on the channel that I won't be able to do for a while, and, you know, what they are. So I wanted to do Eden Zero reactions for the TV show, but it's a Netflix jail, so I can't do that, and I don't want to watch it illegally or find it in any, you know, shady website of any kind, because I don't necessarily have an opinion on whether, you know, everyone should read digital, or, like, everyone should read and watch legal manga and anime, because, well, it's not my place to decide what other people should do. And I don't really care that much. Like, I don't support illegal manga, and I don't support illegal anime at all. I actually don't like it. But I don't fault anyone else that prefers to do that for whatever reason, whether it's economic or, you know, because like, fuck the man, I guess. Like, for whatever reason that you do that, that's your own. I don't really care. And I don't necessarily have a big opinion about legal manga or not. I just personally know that I don't like supporting illegal manga of any kind. I don't like reading scans. I don't like watching, you know, anime illegally or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is just going to wait until Netflix allows us to watch Eden Zero. And by then it'll have English dub, which will be good. Because as much as I like Japanese sounding voices and Japanese language, dubs are just better for me. I just enjoy them more because it's easier to, you know, enjoy the story when I don't have to like read subtitles. So yeah, I also wanted to work on explaining every arc in Eden Zero, and I'm definitely going to still do that before the start of the Eden Zero reactions, but I'm going to go about it way slower than I was hoping to because I'm still very busy with university, and I'm still going to be pretty busy with university for the next while. So I'll probably end up starting that series in July, you know, during the summer. So those are the two major things. I also wanted to do other stuff with comic books, but I haven't found it. So yeah, the next couple projects on the channel are going to be a dive into science fiction manga and light novels in May. And then I might do sports in June, but that depends on whether I can buy enough sports manga to have a whole month about him. But yeah, that's it for what I want to do. Now let's look at the things that I'm unhauling. So the first thing I'm unhauling is To Your Eternity Volume 1, mostly because I enjoyed this quite a lot, but I'm not looking to collect it right now. And I think this will be something that I'm not going to collect for a long time, mostly because I'm interested in it, but not that much, because I have other things that I want to collect instead. So this is in the unhaul pile. Next, I have Fairy Tail 1, 2, and 3. Now, they're kind of in shitty condition. This one's okay. But these two are ex-library books, and they're in pretty awful condition. And that's primarily the reason why I'm getting rid of them. Like, they're still readable, but, like, they have some weird, like, details to them. Like, you know, this one is kind of faded and has a problem there. And I also bought a box set from a friend of mine. You guys will see that in the haul video, but I picked up the first box set, so I don't really need extra copies. So I'm going to sell these. Definitely at a reduced price, obviously, since they are like really beat up library copies. But yeah, that's the next thing I'm getting rid of. Next, I'm gonna get rid of Air Gear. I think I already got rid of this in a while back. I just haven't been able to sell it yet, and I guess no one's interested in it. But yeah, Air Gear is something that has been really appealing to me, and I really enjoyed the anime. But I'm not gonna collect it anytime soon because, as far as I know, this is pretty rare to find, and I haven't found any good sets for it that were not like super overpriced. So I'm just gonna end up probably buying it digitally if that's possible, and I'm just gonna, you know, get rid of the books so they don't take up space on my very limited shelf. So yeah, LDK, I just wasn't feeling it. Like I said in the shoujo videos that this was okay and that I would probably try another volume. But I've been thinking about it, and that's not true. I'm not going to enjoy another volume of this because there's nothing about it that has really caught my attention. It's very generic. It like, nothing about it really blew my socks off, and I actually didn't really enjoy any of the characters now that I'm thinking about it. So this is just going to go on the, you know, unhaul pile. Next, Pandora Hearts. I bought this from my buddy Nick at East Coast Manga, and then I decided that I didn't want to read it. Mostly because it's like a Oz retelling, Wizard of Oz retelling, or inspired by it. And I'm not really interested in that. That's not really like my thing, so I'm just not gonna deal with it. And the last thing I want to get rid of is Aori Yoshi. This is very similar to Air Gear. Really enjoyed it. Really, you know, connected with the story. But one, it's Tokyo Pop. And two, I'm just not gonna collect it anytime soon, like physically. And I haven't found any good sets for it, and I don't really want to go crazy trying to chase them down, so I'm just not going to collect it at the moment. I will probably buy these digitally if I can get them that way, but yeah, if they ever do a reprint, though, I'll definitely buy all of the books for it. Because this is a very cute and very interesting rom-com. So, yeah, that's everything on the Unhaul pile as well. That's basically the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry if I rambled and kind of went into weird topics. But, you know, I just thought it fit with what I was reading. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys all for the support that you've shown me. I really appreciate that as well. So thank you guys so much for watching once again. And see you guys later.